Well, we'll see. Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, I think the talent deficit is shrinking a bit, but that's still going to be an issue going forward. But one thing that could solve that would be a capital infusion that may or may not be coming soon. We want to transition over to the SOXcession plan, as I've
Oh,
coined it,
yes. Yes, yes,
as the
yes.
Sox made it official. Things we were speculating or were written about in the media back in March. Sox confirmed that Justin Ishbia indeed will be first in line to take over the White Sox as soon as 2029 or as late as 2034. Those the timeline confuses me. I don't know if you know more about those details, but I didn't fully understand what that's all about. Of course, Jerry will retain control as long as he is alive and wants to, or is capable of running the White Sox. I think that's what this cements. But the big news out of the announcement is that they can now expect a capital infusion. Was the quote to the ball club and potentially for a new stadium from multi-billionaire owner, now minority owner, eventually majority stakeholder Justin Ishbia. So I think that's positive news. I don't know if you had we've talked about it, but it just seems like it's real, I guess, is the difference, that the White Sox are actually talking about it.
Yeah, I think the part of it that's exciting, like the timeline's whatever. The dude's fucking old as fuck. I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
it
I
could
mean, he
be
could have a
20, it
stroke
could be
tomorrow.
2027. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. So like
I mean,
whatever.
we could all have a stroke tomorrow, I guess I
Yeah,
should say.
yeah,
But
right. But like all that being said, I think the most exciting part is what you just said, and it's capital infusion. And capital infusion means that if Ishba's injecting his money into this organization, then he's also going to have a say on what the organization is doing. Now, Jerry may be the one who is the face, who's saying we're going to.
he's always going to get final say. But
Yeah,
at
but
some point, if with somebody with throwing more cash than he is, or whatever, however
yeah,
this arrangement works
exactly.
out, that feels like a kind of a Wizard of Oz type thing. Like Ishbia might be the one that's really pulling the strings, and Jerry's just kind of the puppet out there. But
The question is now with this happening is we had a conversation last week that was it the 70 was it the 78
78.
was off the table. Is the 78 back on the table now with
Well,
Ishbia injecting money? I mean,
that's what's really curious about the timing of this announcement. As we were talking just last week, that the Sox apparently lost out on that piece of prime undeveloped Chicago South Loop real estate, the 78, lost out to a fucking soccer team, as the Chicago Fire announced that they were going to build their own stadium out there with their own money, $650 million. Um, without any taxpayer assistance, and everyone was fired up about that. Oh God, I didn't even mean to do that. This is like 2 weeks in a row, and I'm just doing horrible puns by total accident. Sorry about that.
yeah, I'm sure it's accident, everybody. It's a total accident.
I really didn't mean to, but
I saw him looking at his notes.
I remember 2 years or a year and a half ago, whenever we first started talking about the 78 being a potential landing spot for a new White Sox stadium, the concern at that point was that, is that piece of land even big enough for a Sox Park to go? Sox Park 3.0. It was a very limited space because it is right in the middle of the city. It's got a river to the west. It's got railroad infrastructure to the east, and it's bound by the city, north and south. So that seemed, at the time, I remember it seemed like, oh, there's not going to be much space there. And now it sounds like there could not only be enough room for a soccer stadium, that is going to happen potentially, I guess, but there's room for both now. So I'm confused by all that, like how much land is really there. I've been by that space many times. It's nothing to look at now. It's undeveloped, but I never paid attention to the dimensions, but it doesn't seem like a huge amount of space. And
Well, I just want to
ahead.
say I'm going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to take the red line to Roosevelt, walk down with my tape measure, and I'll get you the exact dimensions tomorrow. Okay.
Please do so. Yes. If the weather's nice, why not? Do some field reporting there.
Yes, yeah, I'll get on the boots on the ground.
But I just found it like all of a sudden we hear this announcement, then like within days, all of a sudden what we were talking about back in March becomes real news as the Sox decide to make this announcement. So I think that is there's a direct correlation between the Fires announcement and this White Sox announcement. And I think it has everything to do with the 78, as every party involved has said, yes, suddenly there is plenty of room for both stadiums on this plot of land. So I also think what that means is there is zero room for parking,
right?
which is going to be a big culture change for White Sox fans if that is the case, because you have numerous massive parking lots surrounding Sox Park to this day, where tailgating is a fun thing to do, or it's just not. It's going to be more like Wrigley, where you take public transportation to get to the stadium and go right in instead of hanging out outside. But I don't know.
I've already solved it though. You got an abandoned stadium. You just park at the old stadium and hop on the red line.
Yeah, and have like a shuttle, or you could have the red line, or have shuttle buses going. Okay.
Yeah, see, it's already solved. Problem solved there.
Everything on the south side is so simple. I mean,
it's so simple. We have room.
But isn't it? How many blocks? We figured this out back in March. How many?
It's not even that. It's not really that
20
far.
blocks.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Okay,
but it is interesting. I agree with you. I think they're like, fuck, we gotta get our name back on the docket for the 78 space. But and it's not surprising, and here's why. I remember when we first talked about it, and the original story that was published was that he was not going to ask for money. I don't know if you remember this, but if you go back and listen to our podcast, he was not going to ask for money, and it was going to be a privately funded stadium. And we were like, holy shit. He finally realized, he saw Ricketts, he knows what he has to do to get it done. And then like a couple weeks later, it was like, he's going down to Springfield to ask for fucking money.
I need $1 billion. I remember making the headline saying he was asking for $1 billion. So I guess we'll learn more as time goes on. But yeah, one thing might be true today that is completely false tomorrow.
But he might have his $1 billion he needs from Ishbia and then some. So
and that's where it becomes far more plausible that this could actually happen when you make this announcement that Justin Ishbia is going to be involved and is going to be infusing cash or capital into the organization. They weren't specific about that, but I don't think you're buying any big name, giant name free agents necessarily next year. I think it would make more sense if that capital infusion was into real estate and into your stadiums. I think that there's speculation that capital infusion can mean many things, but I think it's quite clear it could be for that stadium, which suddenly makes sense for at least the people of Illinois to accept, because you're not asking for a handout like Jerry has for all these years. So
yeah.
It's just funny how the story has changed so many times, and especially in this last week, like how quickly things have changed. So, like I said, you White Sox are eternally entertaining. There's always something going on one way or the other.
But the good news is we're finally, for me anyway, the good news for me is we're finally entertaining on the positive side of things. We're trending up.
Yeah.
It's not this inner, and hopefully if we do build a new stadium, we don't give the naming rights to someone with an arrow pointing down.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Rate will be involved somehow, as they had to change their name from Guaranteed Rate to Rate. I think there's
for legal reasons.
Yeah. I think there's still an arrow pointing down in their logo, but maybe that'll be adjusted by the time this all comes to fruition. But
maybe.
Well, again, I mean, everyone was giddy back a year and a half ago when the first idea that they could move to the 78, when the renderings came out, because it would be fucking awesome to have that so accessible in the South Loop, right smack dab in the middle of the city, with that skyline. If they build it in the right fucking direction this time, as a backdrop, it would be massive. And I think it'd be pretty cool if they can fit it all to have it be a giant sports complex with both soccer and baseball there, and see what else gets developed around there. But I think it'd be incredible.
I think what you do is like you put the soccer stadium there and the baseball stadium and then a Smoke Daddy and an all small cheval
Yeah,
and
Wrigleyville South.
yeah, and then the taco joint. You just got it all. It's
Yeah.
already, the blueprint's already there.
Big Star, yeah,
Big Star.
right there.
I can never remember Big Star. It's like down the block from me, but
It's right there. What the fuck?
It's right fucking there. It's probably the margaritas right now. I can't remember.
So you probably had margaritas at Big Star a few times.
Oh, that's where I learned how to make the spicy margarita. Was courtesy of Big Star and what they used in it. I have all the ingredients here at home.
Oh, wow.
Word Hole Media.